War for new players. In this video, I'm going to give the general principle for war, defense and attack, and go through one extremely successful defense round in war that I had recently. So, when attacking, the general principle is that you need 10 squads that are able to win your battles, and it all begins you having 10 squads that can beat the shield officer teams. When you progress in the game and get a little further in the war, you will need some minimal defense with good traps, that is min-maxing certain war defenses that will cause enemies to overcommit to your defenses, or maybe even lose a couple of rounds. And on attack, just use most of your roster here. You will receive war credits on clearing the enemies, and when you attack, you will always get 100% return for your time and efforts and your roster. Instead, if you put it on defense, it could be that the enemy doesn't even attack you, or you will lose regardless what you put there. The same reasoning can be applied to the defense boost, which is extremely low value when it comes to war. So, in summary, put most on your stuff on offense and couple of minimal teams on defense with traps on them. And about traps, let's go through one of my most successful defense rounds in war, so you'll understand what I mean by traps. Okay, so the first team that I have here on defense is the mercenaries with Taskmaster. So basically 4 filler mercenaries with somewhat big Taskmaster who will done most of the work here, giving the blind on first turn, and after that assisting every other member of this squad. Similar structure would be on Heroes for Hire team, which I do not have, basically having big Shang-Chi and him being supported by, let's say, 40k members for Heroes for Hire team. But, for example, for me, I do not have enough tier 2 ability materials to put that team together. Then the next team that I have here is the New Avengers that is required for the Green Goblin event. So you'll have to put resources on them eventually, I think. And the same situation as the mercenary team. If you put most of the resources on Tiger, then the team will perform just fine. And if you do not put resources on other members, it will look weaker than it actually is. And this will cause enemies to do more mistakes with this team. Then comes my small Gamma. There's no reason not to upgrade this team if you happen to have the resources. It will perform just fine as a 5-piece. What I have done here is basically the Red Hulk is the bait. He is offering the passive that Gamma will take 50% less damage. So there's a great likelihood that the enemy will overlook this team. And lastly, I have my I'm not sure if this should be even called Infestation, but it has some Infestation members in it. This team does absolutely nothing, but the thing is that the enemy might not know that. Especially if my previous teams all have been some kind of traps, he might expect this to be also one, even though if you are even a little bit of experienced, you would know that that team cannot actually do anything because there's no damage dealer there to kill anyone. And in this example war that I'm displaying here, the enemy is basically on full tilt on this point. He's just used one of his best team on cleaning up my Gamma, and after that 900,000 team on my Infestation that is basically no threat at all. The only unfortunate thing in this war against this guy is that he ran out of attacks and he wasn't able to attack to my Ghost Trap, which is my favorite trap of all. So, Ghost is basically a character that gains an evade on each turn after you level him up to level 18. And you do not level him up greater than this, so he will better blend in with the shield officers. And now the idea is that if the enemy just uses one character to clean up my shield officer rooms and he does not spot the Ghost, he will fail one attack because of this. Sometimes the enemy will accidentally pick a character that will go through the evade with some mechanics, and this can be a little bit frustrating, but there are times that this actually works just fine.